Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Nina's Chelsea Corner if you're new around here. I am absolutely horrified with Chelsea's performance at Old Trafford today. Losing 2-1 in the manner that we did, Robert Sanchez with an absolutely pathetic decision, getting himself sent off so early on in the game, and ENZO MARESCA giving us no chance to even get anything out of it. So there is so much to unpack here. I feel sick because I'm so disappointed with how that all unfolded, and honestly at minute 10 I just said to my dad, this feels like a punishment. Watching this game right now feels like a punishment. What did I do to deserve this on a Saturday? So yeah, I think this is probably the worst Chelsea performance I've seen in a very long time. I felt like it was 22-23 vibes in many ways, because I just remember feeling so deflated like pretty much every game in that season. And sorry if this sounds dramatic, but I feel the same way today. Simply because the manner that everything went down in was just beyond shocking, and in no way, shape or form a performance worthy of being associated with Club World Cup champions. That is just, yeah, bizarre to me. So we'll talk about the game, we'll talk about ENZO MARESCA, because I feel like he is the biggest talking point after this one. And yeah, I just think in terms of how we set up, I didn't really have an issue with anything I saw. Pretty much as expected. Maybe was hoping that Garnacho would be part of the starting lineup, but I was just equally happy to see Esteval starting. I think he's had some pretty good minutes and has showed enough to be able to warrant him a start at Old Trafford. Definitely really deserved. Cole Palmer back in, that to me just signalled he's fine, he doesn't have any issues, and pretty much ready to go. And then we start the game, and I'm looking at us guys, and I'm not even joking, before we even had Robert Sanchez sent off, I thought we looked so erratic, insecure and uncertain with everything we were doing. To me, Man United started better. They were the better team in the opening minutes, literally 2, 3, 4 minutes, and they actually just made us worry a little bit. And I think that is exactly what came of that moment where Robert Sanchez was put under that pressure and he decided to get himself sent off. Perhaps then, as ENZO MARESCA has said, it would have been better to just have conceded the goal. MARESCA said he'd rather be 1-0 down at minute 4 than one man down at minute 4, and that probably is quite sensible. However, this is where ENZO MARESCA comes in. As manager, he has the responsibility to adapt to situations. He said that the game plan went out the window and in the bin when Sanchez got sent off. Obviously, that's the case, MARESCA. I understand that not many managers prep and plan for their goalkeeper to be sent off so early on in the game. However, in that moment, you've got to be a quick thinker. You have got to see what you've got at your disposal. You have to obviously take into consideration your opponent. And sorry, no offence to Manchester United, but they have been struggling. They haven't exactly been scoring goals for fun. They came into this feeling insecure, maybe could win if they come up with something, but pretty much weren't confident and haven't been confident. So we were supposed to be confident. Even a man down, MARESCA could have been more sensible with his substitutions. He should have left Pedro Neto on, in my opinion, because Pedro Neto, a player that offers both offensive and defensive qualities. He tracks back, he helps out defensively. His work ethic is probably like none other in the team. For 90 minutes, Neto will give you the same energy from minute 1 to minute 90, and he is literally built for this game. Yet he was subbed off. Esteval, I understood, because he's the youngest player on the pitch, and I could have gotten behind that. Fine, bring on a defender, take Esteval on, but do nothing else. Cole Palmer, I understand you needed to bring off. He said that he didn't feel good after 20 minutes, and apparently he wasn't 100% in the morning to begin with, so that's questionable in itself, and hopefully nothing serious there. So bar that, fine, but Pedro Neto coming off was the first red flag in that game, and it just meant that we were set up to fail from the get-go. Because what do you mean João Pedro was our only attacking outlet against Manchester United from minute 4? And I feel so sorry for him, because I genuinely think that he could have actually done something had he had a bit of support and service around him, but he was just left there to dry because nobody was around him. And then Maresca justified that by saying, because United attacked with 5 players, we needed to respond to that with a back 5. To me, ENZO MARESCA, that screams insecurity and uncertainty. That is not a way that you're brave. That's not a game where I look at and think, yeah, we have got something to show here. We can go and play these 80 odd minutes or whatever is left of this game with a little bit of pride and actually try our luck. Because why is it that at 0-0, minute 4, you're bringing off all of our attackers, you're bringing on all our defenders, who, mind you, struggle to defend. That's a different story we'll get into in a moment. And yeah, you leave João Pedro there to dry, isolated. Sometimes it was literally 1v3 or 1v4, and then he'd just have to lose the ball anyway because there was nothing else he could do. But it was just really shocking to see ENZO MARESCA do that. So again, that doesn't give me confidence in my manager that in big games he can actually be a little bit brave, have a little bit of self-esteem, because we deserve to have a little bit of self-esteem after this summer. Instead, he decides that we need to crawl into our shells and just hope that we keep Man United out for 90 minutes. A Man United side, mind you, that was playing well when we had a man sent off, that was trying and was pulling strings together, that was attacking, and we were struggling to keep them out. We obviously conceded, that was coming, it was expected, but heads dropped, and we just looked like we didn't really know what to do. We looked like we hadn't a clue. And then I thought, how on earth are we going to be able to keep this 1-0 this whole entire game? Having made the subs that he has and having seen what I have on the pitch, like even counter-attacking, well, what counter-attacking football could we have really played with the players that we had there? Like, who exactly did you envision sprinting up with João Pedro and then also tracking back when United counter our counter? Like, it just really didn't make sense to me, and I feel like Maresca let down the outfield players today. Obviously, Robert Sanchez let the players down initially, but then Maresca actually had an opportunity to salvage at least some pride and potentially maybe a point or something in this game. When things looked like they were happening for us a little bit more and we were actually moving inside at Manchester United's box and there was some crosses being sent in by Reece James and things looked like they were happening, that was an opportunity to then bring on some attacking players, at least then, because I'm sorry, but you have Garnacho sitting there, you have Gittins sitting there, players combining for almost 100 million, and you're not bringing on a single one in this game. When what is there to play for? Like, losing 2-1 or 3-1 at that point, I don't care. Have a go, have a try. But no, and then Maresca comes out and says that he would have brought Garnacho on and he did start to warm up. But Wesley Fofana said he was tired and wanted to come off. But I don't understand why that needs to be a like for like and you need to bring on another defender in the name of Malo Gusto. I simply didn't understand it. I would have been brave there and actually gone and brought on Garnacho anyway, and he offers something a little bit more. Fresh legs there, he's got energy, he's willing to play against Manchester United, he'll be raring to go. So that is, again, another decision that was wrong in my opinion. So it was just mistake after mistake, and I just think Maresca got it all wrong, and the in-game management ultimately really let us down at the very end. And there you go, Manchester United pick up all 3 points, and I think the worst part is seeing Manchester United fans be slightly disappointed with their own performance. So I don't know what to say about us, guys. I mean, if they're picking out certain things that they're not very happy with, we're a little bit lost. But yeah, say what you want, but if you look at the records of the start of the season, it's not that great. It really isn't. It's concerning, and I'm angry about this game in isolation at the most because I expected so much more, but I'm also concerned moving forward at how consistent can we be? How sustainable is this? Maresca's got a lot of decisions to make here, and I think, again, I worry because is Maresca going to crawl into a bit of a shell and not be brave against teams? Are we going to be figured out? Are we figured out already? Because if you're suddenly showing this much respect and you're ultimately almost diminishing and undermining the qualities of some of these players and the potential that we have to even 10v11, put on a little bit of something and offer some sort of creativity, then that's sending out the wrong message. That is really sending out the wrong message. And when we come to play the bigger teams, and when it comes to the harder games in the Champions League, that's going to be a real problem. So yeah, I'm disappointed, really, really disappointed. Manchester United get all 3 points. They're just a point behind us now as well, guys, in the league. But yeah, ultimately we didn't really deserve anything in the end. And I'm just upset because the players looked like they gave up and they accepted their fate. The conditions were horrible, the weather was horrible, but we're not about to blame the weather here because it was the same for both sides. So really, really poor in the night. Lots to think about, lots to take away. The good news is Robert Sanchez gets to sit and think about himself and his performance and his errors. Next game we've got Lincoln City in the cup, a bit of a distraction, hopefully some time for Cole Palmer to recover. Don't know what's happening with Wesley Fofana, but at this point, how can you possibly rely on a player that's available for not more than 1 or 2 games? We've had players that have played every single game for a whole season, a whole summer without rest, and then Wesley Fofana is the one that's coming on for a game or 2 and then being tired or not being match fit. I'm not too sure what's happening there. So apologies guys, really, really negative from me today, but I'm just simply really disappointed with what I saw and just very deflating all round, especially for the expectations that we had set. So yeah, I would say hope you enjoyed, but not much really to enjoy. Hit the like button please, and subscribe if you are new here. I did also do a live reaction if you want to check that out on my channel. Follow me on Instagram, X and TikTok. It's all linked in the description down below. Thank you so much for all your support guys. Hope you have a nice rest of your weekend. Distract yourself, do something nice for yourselves, and I will see you very, very soon. Thank you so much.